In the short term, it didn't feel like it was the right decision, but 4 or 5 years later now, I know that was the right decision they made for us. I'm Rachel Avon, and if it hadn't been for my daughter, I may not have known that I had cancer. When I was 6 months pregnant with Cari, I went into work as normal and started to have a strange feeling in my right hand side. By 11 o'clock in the morning, I knew something wasn't right. The pain was really sore, so I phoned my local midwife, who said to go to hospital. I was sent for a scan. It showed the baby was sat. There's nothing wrong with the baby at all. I had bloods then, and a consultant said to me at that point that they thought I had an appendicitis and wanted to take my appendix out. The consultant, when he told my husband and myself that he was going to take my appendix out, being 6 months pregnant, this was quite unusual in itself, but they really clearly stated that although I was 6 months pregnant, they had to put my life before the baby's, and they couldn't guarantee that the baby would be okay, as the surgery was invasive. 4 days after I had Cari, I had a phone call from the consultant who took my appendix out, and he asked us to come down to the hospital as soon as possible. So I went into hospital on my own with Cari in the car seat. I was taken into a small room and was actually told that they'd found a cancerous tumour on my appendix, and they didn't know if it had spread or so they said that I would have to wait 6 months and then have a scan. When the doctors told me that they had found a cancerous tumour, my initial reaction was obviously complete shock. When we came back the following day, one of the big questions we actually had was why we weren't told at the 6 month point when they took my appendix out. And they explained to us that had they told us, the only option would have been to do an MRI scan, which they couldn't do at that time, being pregnant, as it would have affected Cari. In the short term, it didn't feel like it was the right decision, but 4 or 5 years later now, I know that was the right decision they made for us.